Centuries before Joshua's armies entered Canaan, before a single trumpet sounded at Jericho, one man was already moving through this land, stopping at the most strategically significant locations in the entire region, building altars, and when you map those altar sites against Israel's later conquest routes, the coordinates align at every major battleground. This is the Canaanite Dossier, and today we're opening the file on Abraham's altars. When Abraham entered Canaan, the land was already controlled. Fortified city-states dominated trade routes. Hilltop strongholds guarded every major mountain pass. Warrior clans occupied the key regions. This was not empty territory. Yet Abraham does something remarkable for a vulnerable outsider moving through hostile land. He builds altars, again and again. In the ancient world, altars were never merely private religious symbols. They represented allegiance, authority, and territorial claim. Every altar declared which god ruled that ground. Abraham wasn't making a personal gesture. He was making a declaration. The first altar appears at Shechem, a fortified corridor sitting between Mount Gerizim and Mount Ebal, one of the most strategic gateways in all of central Canaan. Genesis adds an unusual detail right here. The Canaanites were then in the land, occupied, contested, controlled. Yet Abraham builds directly inside their sphere of influence. Centuries later, Joshua brings Israel back to this exact valley to renew the covenant. Same mountains, same corridor, same claim. The second altar appears in the hill country between Bethel and Ai, the central ridge route controlling movement through the spine of Canaan. Centuries later, Joshua's battle at Ai becomes one of the defining turning points of the entire conquest. Then, Abraham moves to Hebron, one of the oldest and most formidable strongholds in the land, later home to the Anakim, the giant clans that shook Israel's spies to their core. Abraham dwells there peacefully. It becomes the burial ground of the patriarchs, the covenant center of his family line. And centuries later, Caleb specifically requests Hebron, giants still occupying it, because his family had a claim on that ground going back generations. The same coordinates Abraham walked quietly became Israel's fiercest battlegrounds. That is not random geography. That is continuity across centuries. Now look at what these altars were and what they were not. Canaanite religion centered on high places, territorial gods, and monuments of centralized power. But Abraham's altars were the opposite. Simple, portable, uncut stone. No empire, no monument, no tower reaching skyward. Just covenant. We've traced this contrast through the entire Babylon dossier. Babel said, "Stay together, build upward, make a name through visible systems." Abraham was told to leave and start walking by faith instead. The altars were that obedience made physical, covenant markers pressed into the ground of a land that didn't yet belong to him, but had been promised. Those same coordinates, Shechem, Hebron, the ridge roots of Canaan, become the battlegrounds of the conquest record. The site analysis, the destruction layers, the primary sources behind that campaign are in the Exodus to Conquest Master Dossier. Link in the description. Now the full picture of this dossier comes into focus. The giants' hostile powers occupying the land. Melchizedek, a righteous priest-king, already established within it. Sodom, corruption, consuming the plain. Abraham's altars, quiet covenant markers, reclaiming the land one location at a time. Before Israel inherited Canaan militarily, Abraham claimed it spiritually. Altar by altar, footprint by footprint. Maybe that's what these coordinates were all along, not private acts of devotion, but prophetic declarations placed at the exact locations where the future battles for the land would be fought. Because the conquest of Canaan didn't truly begin with Joshua's trumpets at Jericho. It began centuries earlier, when a man walked out of Babylon, entered occupied territory, and started marking the land in the name of another kingdom, and the Canaanite dossier is now complete. But the story doesn't end here, because the same covenant God made with Abraham, the promise, the land, the seed, is about to be tested by the most powerful empire on earth, Egypt, and it begins with one man thrown into a pit by his own brothers, who rises to become the second most powerful ruler in the ancient world. Joseph's 7-year plan. The next file is already being prepared.